Marvell, and you and I did the double duty. That's what we do here. We run our research firms, and then we do a night job, as you like to say. And our night job is PG. We are on video, but it is talking technology. Yep, there you go. You got it right. And so we sat down with the president, chief operations officer of Marvell, rising star, Chris Koopmans. And Chris has kind of been like a 6-month visitor to the 6.5. He did our summit, one of our main keynotes. He visited us on the ground about 6 months before that. And now 6 months later, we were doing the recap. And look, there's a lot there, Pat. I mean, the data infrastructure story around AI is palpable. Marvell was probably the second company that got real credit around AI because they were the second company after NVIDIA that was able to announce a meaningful revenue number. Now, again, we're talking different stratospheres in terms of the size of the numbers, but Marvell has seen it's on like a quarter to quarter run rate. They went from about 200 million a year of AI infrastructure to data infrastructure to 200 million a quarter over a short period of time. And during that period of time, Marvell has been able to really communicate the story that, yes, part of the AI story is all about compute, but the other part of the story is all about moving the data. And so Marvell has got critical infrastructure that is necessary and that the OEMs are going to build with their modules that are going to be required to be able to move data, light and electronic, and that's where Marvell's growth story has come from. Having said that, the company didn't just talk about data infrastructure. They did talk a little bit about the rest of their business, like across the auto and 5G, but it was a heavy day of AI, Pat. It was a heavy day of AI, and I think they were calling it accelerated infrastructure. Accelerated data infrastructure was the word they were using to align with accelerated computing. The other thing that really hit home for me, Pat, and of course, watch the 6.5 video. That'll come out shortly. You'll see us sit down with Chris. But the other thing that really came out to me, too, is this is a company that's become a really reputed and required partner to the ecosystem for cloud optimized silicon. We're going to see accelerators coming from Marvell. I believe in the coming year, they're going to have their first AI accelerator, cloud optimized silicon. They are a partner to many OEMs and many that are developing silicon. And they've kind of been a critical one-stop shop, white glove service. And that has been something that the company's been able to lean on meaningfully to gain business. Now, this is an area where growing competition. You got companies like ARM, they're announcing their own IP plus white glove, but Marvell was there early. They've been there often, and they've been very successful. This is also a company that has seen a lot of its business parts struggle, and so while AI has been up, everything else has kind of been sideways and down. And so, if we're turning a corner, that's going to be really good for Marvell. But otherwise, they're going to need to see that AI revenue accelerate really quickly to offset other slower parts of their business, Pat. But it was a good day overall. Lots of good conversations, good demonstrations. What did you see?
Yeah, that was great analysis, Dan. And the way that Marvell hasn't had the growth overall as I'm sure they would like. But what I always like to do is look at self-inflicted wounds versus market wounds. And the reality is that carrier, automotive, and enterprise is down. It's down for everybody, right? Every single semiconductor company we talk to. Now, that one niche, the hyperscaler AI niche, is growing, just like you said. And Marvell has had some exceptional growth in there, and they participate primarily on the network side, and they have some custom ASIC for AI that is ready to hit the market here. So yeah, and what do you do as a company if you're in a position like that? You just trudge on and you move forward because the market is going to come back. It's like the ocean. I mean, the ocean goes out and the ocean comes in, and you need to be prepared when it comes in that you're the best prepared to do that. And the company, I believe, is investing in core intellectual property, building blocks, and also creating solutions, complete solutions, to be able to address these core markets competitively. Two main announcements they made at the show. First of all, Octeon 10 processors, two new ones, and these ones are for network equipment folks, firewall folks, And it really is a giant SoC, right? We call them DPUs, okay? So it contains ARM Neoverse 2 cores, okay? It includes some ASICs on there to do acceleration. So two new ones out. Those are primarily used in the enterprise, and also I'll call tier two hyperscalers. And then they came out with quite frankly what I think is their biggest play long term, and that's upping the game with optical DSPs. So if nothing else that the industry agrees with is generative AI brings this explosion of data like we've never seen before. And the reality is, if you don't connect the racks, if you don't connect the fleets of racks, if you don't connect the fleets of racks together, and you don't connect data centers between each other in the fastest, lowest latency, lowest power possible, then you're not going to have growth. And as we talked with Chris, I think, and I think you and I have known this, but it really is the trifecta, right? You can't have a fiddle or crab architecture where you've got a giant compute accelerator and not the right connectivity and not the right memory and storage. So all of these things need to come together. So two new solutions came out. One was called Perseus, and this is optical short reach. And Dan, you and I did a lab tour of AWS that we're allowed to talk about. It's public, and what Perseus does is it replaces passive copper cables with active optical cables. So distance are 5 meters to 500.
Yep.
And they brought out this other one that's called Spicagen 2 that is 10 kilometers. 10 kilometers, like, why would you need an optical solution, a DSP, a PAM4 optical DSP to do that? It's connecting data centers together, right? Or connecting you with the backhaul of the internet. So, and this is clearly focused on cloud operators. So those are the three announcements. Talk a little bit about strategy, but please be sure to check out our conversation with Chief Operating Officer Chris Koopmans.